Hello UXDX EMEA. It is a pleasure to be speaking here again. My name is Nadia Udalova and I am a head of product design at Moonpig Group. It is a bit more than a year ago since I was presenting at UXDX Netherlands, and I'm so happy to be back. Today, I would like to challenge everyone listening to me here and ask, do you believe in the true product personalization for customers? How personalized is the content that some e-commerce shops are offering to us and proposing to purchase? Is it based solely on your preferences and interests as a user, or is it some kind of an illusion that today's e-commerce platforms are trying to create? During the next 25 minutes, I'll make you familiar with Moonpig as a business. I'll walk you through some of the things that we've done, and I will talk a little bit about our product range. We will look into some data and wrangle about product personalization, discussing Moonpig's approach to this. And at the end, I would like to leave you with some of the biggest learnings that we concluded to while trying to create the optimal personalized experience for our customers. I appreciate those listeners to me today in the United Kingdom or even Ireland who may be already familiar with the Moonpig brand. For those who haven't heard of us yet, we are all about celebrating those great life moments, the big birthdays, the new arrivals, those surprise engagements, and just the becauses. We're helping our users to connect to the people that they care most about. We are one of the biggest online shops that offer personalized and non-editable greeting cards of all sizes, from standard to giant, and as well as a wide range of flowers and gifts to make a great pair and a great gift with them. At Moonpig, our mission, our aim is to create those better, more personal connections between people who care about each other. And we are doing this by making gifting experience effortless. Imagine choosing your own card, adding the personal picture of your loved one, typing their name, and adding any message you want to the card. We're turning our brands into the ultimate gifting companion. This means having the perfect gift range and leveraging all of the data and all technology that we have to be as thoughtful as possible for every gifting occasion throughout the year. But before moving forward, I would like to walk you through some data to prove how hard it can be to select the right gift today and how often we as humans fail with this mission. There was a survey done by Worst Gift Giver in August 2019 with almost 1,000 adults, and it has revealed some very interesting insights. Just listen to this. 45% of respondents said that the person who gave them their worst gift did so more than once in their lives. So this means more than one celebrating occasion. The average estimated price of a worst gift was about $20. Just now imagine how much money it is wasted on the bad gifts. Relatives seem to be the worst gift givers more than anyone else. This is very surprising to myself because I would expect that my family and my close ones would know me the best. Also, 16% of respondents said that receiving their worst gift ever worsened their relationship with the gift giver. So all of this data just indicates that all people are different in our tastes and our preferences, and we may need some help in surprising our loved ones. Also, as we will see later in my presentation, it may not always be the fault of the person who is choosing the present when they give something that isn't perceived positively. So in order to understand the intention and preferences of our customers better, at Moonpig we have done quite some extensive research to segment the type of people who are buying with us in order to fulfill their needs better. We used behavioral segmentation to get a better understanding about those people, not by just who they are, but by what they do, using the insights derived from customers' action. Behavioral segmentation is based on patterns of behavior displayed by the customers as they interact with a company or brand or make a purchasing decision. It allows businesses to divide customers into several groups according to their knowledge or attitude towards or the response towards a product, service, or brand. So our objective here was to identify the customer segment and to understand how to address the particular needs or desires of that specific group, discover the opportunities to optimize their customer journeys, and quantify their potential value to our business. Unfortunately, here during the confidentiality of data, I cannot show you the exact information and data we came up with here. We have analyzed tons of data, and by using the prioritization matrix, we have identified the top customer segments that we would be focusing on with all our efforts in the future, as we believe we can get the best value out of focusing on those customers. Also, we quickly understood that with all of those people's specialties and personalities, personalization is going to be a big help and will be fundamental to providing the optimal customer shopping experience for our users. It is also super beneficial for businesses to generate more sales and increase customer retention. However, there was also one quite big problem that we came across when trying to build for the best customer's experience in terms of personalization. So conventional personalization engines, they take certain information about each shopper, such as their age, their location, gender, and then they run this data through statistical algorithms that have been developed based on the data of thousands of other customers. It runs this data through the data that was produced by shopper actions like clicking on an item, liking an item, adding that item to the cart. It runs this data through the algorithms and surfaces back items for the customer. So, for example, if you are a 33-year-old woman and you live in London and you are searching for a floral dress to add to your basket, you found it, you clicked, it's in your cart right now. This action will make you see, and you will get as a result more products shown that were liked or purchased by other British women in their 30s who also bought that dress. So here is the problem. Sequencing algorithms that base recommendation on the prior action of thousands of other customers, they are not personal at all. They are predictions based on statistics, but not an individual trait. So does this mean that personalization is indeed an illusion? Decades ago, before the internet, the most successful shopkeepers were those who kept the list of their products that their best customers loved, and they called those customers when they got the new stock. This type of personalization kept customer satisfaction really high, and it cemented a lifelong loyalty. I was born and raised in a city in Ukraine, and my mom still, many years after I have left the country, she is still living there and buying her favorite cottage cheese from the same lady at the local market. This lady, the shopkeeper, calls my mom by her phone every time when she gets the stock of the cottage cheese in. And my mom always runs to her and returns to buying with this lady because it's simply convenient and it meets all of her needs. Today, as technology evolved and e-commerce was born, artificial intelligence promised us to enable a much more sophisticated playbook, not only for providing those real-time recommendations, but also for elevating engagement of the customer and better communicating with them. However, the real truth is that personalization is still hard, and this is why it's so easy to get it wrong. Here are a couple of examples where the other companies haven't done such a great job about this. I'm quite sure that many of you have been the victims of the first name fail marketing model, and it probably happened quite a lot to you. Have you ever received those emails that would say the first name instead of your personal name, or F name, or having weird characters? This is occurring when something goes wrong during the collecting of your data from multiple sources. Or cases like I've shown on the right, this is an unfortunate situation for Pinterest when they have accidentally congratulated hundreds of single women on getting married, and those women been simply browsing for wedding-related content. This is a particular example of getting user intentions wrong. We don't want to be there. Therefore, at Moonpig, our approach was to start from a very basic level and take an incremental approach to the personalization. The idea was to start looking at one particular area and focus on it until we get it right. So we decided to give our attention to the cross-sell experience and make it better than it's today. We had some specific challenges due to the nature of the business. We are not a typical e-commerce business, because for us it's all about the relationship between the users who are sending each other cards and gifts, and not the users themselves who are purchasing the card. So for us it's harder to collect and analyze the data. It is also taking us longer to learn about the user. Our average order frequency is only 3 times a year, so we are not collecting tons of data as often as other big e-commerce businesses do. Cold start problem is also a real challenge for us. This is about making recommendation to those customers who are first timers with us. And it's there due to the all above reasons that I just mentioned. So in order to understand the different goals of our customers, we also have done lots of user research to define and outline the core job to be done of our customers and those that are related to it. This helped us to realize how many different variables there that are impacting the success of the right gift selection. So to give you a concrete example, the core job to be done that we have identified was, of course, giving a card or a gift to celebrate an occasion with a loved one. And we have found more than 50 related jobs to be done. For example, finding a suitable card, or a willingness to be thought positively by the recipient when they get the card. Also finding the right words to write in the card or to say with the gift. Getting the correct address of the recipient and making sure it arrives to the right place and on the right time. And many, many others. To show you in a little bit more detail our Moonpig journey of developing personalized experience, here is how we started with enhancing our cross-sell 3.5 years ago. And by the way, a little disclaimer here, everything that I'm going to show in the next couple of slides is only a part of the work that we've done in this time. It's not everything for sure. So 3.5 years ago, we had started from a very limiting situation. Our cross-sell experience would look like the following. After a customer would add a card to the basket, he would be introduced and invited to the cross-sell step that would be showing 16 products as a proposal for a gift in a static list. Those 16 products would be our best sellers. And as I said, they will be shown to the customer in a list of static items. So for example, if you would be choosing a card for your kid's birthday, we would show you the best selling 16 gifts that can be going in a pair with this card that you selected. So good, kind of okay-ish cross-sell experience, but pretty static, isn't it? We wanted to improve. So we looked at proposing a unique pairing using the lift algorithm. What does it mean is that when a customer would be choosing a card, we would show her gifts that were previously bought uniquely with this same card. Some customers don't always know the perfect gift for the recipient, so we decided to leverage the data from similar customers who previously shopped successfully for the same type of recipient and occasion. Doing this essentially would mean that our customers who are more confident shoppers are helping those customers with less confidence. So for example, if someone chooses a traditional card, these cards are usually more likely to be bought with flowers, for example. And what we would do, we would match these cards with a couple of nice bouquets as a gift. On the other hand, humorous cards, or those cards about wine drinking, they tend to match a drink gift. So we would follow this pattern. This was very simple improvement, and it worked great for our customers. The first test that we've done to validate this, we saw a big win, 10% uplift. So we're just trying to give a little bit more relevant gift to our customers. We already saw a big increase in metrics. After this, we wanted to attack our biggest challenge, biggest issue, the cold start problem. So this is when the first-time customer comes to our website. So remember the 16 gifts as a recommendation for after adding a cart to your basket that I told you about earlier. So we have tried expanding the range from 16 gifts to 160 in order to provide a wider list, a wider selection of gifts recommendation to buy with this same card. How we done it? We worked with a grouping of cards and missions to ensure that we have 160 products to recommend with each card. So if you bought a card of congratulating someone for moving to a new house, you would get a house decor gift as a recommendation. For every card we would have a mission group level recommendation. And also, as we would see your orders as customer coming in, we would be checking if we can recommend a better product based on what you have bought before. And we will rely less and less on those mission group level recommendations. Somehow, unfortunately, this wasn't a massive success for us, but this was something very useful for the next step that we undertook. So the next thing here was that we introduced product carousels. We have moved away from the 160 products in a random list to be making a few groups of gifts in few categories of products. This is what we called product carousels. So previously our customers found it hard to browse such a long static list of products, but yet we knew that they wanted to have more choice. And this meant that we had to group products to make the browsing of gifts easier for them. From the UX perspective, this was a big improvement. Just to show you how it looked like, on the left we see the old cross-sell experience, just a static list of gifts, and on the right we see the product carousels. You see a couple of products grouped together by the product type. So this allowed us to add more products to show to the customer and provided variety. So users got to see a set of 2 to 5 carousels, and one of them could be flowers, another could be chocolate, etc. This provided a great browsing experience, and it was a big win for us. It brought us 10% of uplift. One of the most recent things here was an idea that relied on people giving us information themselves. We are currently working on a mechanism that would help us reading a card text that user would type into the card, and that would help us identify the mission from there. So for example, if you would be choosing a birthday card and writing on a card something like, "For my dear dad," we would know that you're buying a card for birthday, for mail, and for your dad. And we would turn this text into the recommendations to serve as the best gift for you as a customer. This is still coming in the future, so it's not currently live yet. So based on our 3.5 years journey, I want to leave you with our most important lessons that we learned through our experience. Start small and iterate to improve. As I said earlier, take one area and focus on it to get it right. Target all your efforts around it and find a way to collect the data and learn. Don't scatter your attention. You saw how we took a main area to focus on around our cross-sell experience and tried little steps around it. Capture the context and data everywhere where possible in order to learn faster. Any little piece of information you can learn about what your customers are doing or are willing to do will be helpful for you. Ask your data scientist for support or hire an agency to help you. This will give you so much more confidence in what you are doing and that you are doing it right. Next point I want to focus on is to say that you should be looking at what your users finding the biggest struggle and focusing your attention over that. So spend some time learning about the biggest job to be done of your customer. Pick something where you can genuinely anticipate your user's need better than they can. For us, this was proposing the best gift to go with the card, because we knew it was a struggle for them. And remember, not every step needs to be personalized at the individual level. You can also look at what other customers, what other users are doing in the same situation. Use the wisdom of the crowd to surface the right item back to your customer. So using the behavioral data from the customers who were buying for the same mission and occasion to help future customers of the same type of the recipient. For us, this was a big help and a big win. Remember, those more experienced customers, they can help those who are the first timers at your shop and who have less experience using the product and selecting the gifts. Also, using product metadata to suggest similar products to each other will be a big help. For example, like recommended for you, or people who bought this bought also that. Also, we were not looking at the customer only himself, but also at what many people have done in the same situation that helped us surfacing results to the people and making the best recommendation. And last but not least here, relevance to the users should go over everything else. For us at Moonpig, designing personalization strategy around our customer was the biggest goal. Of course, there have been some parts where business strategy played into that, but our customer needs were always on the first place. We picked something where we could genuinely anticipate our users and their needs better than they can, and we helped them around that. So with all of these great stories, did we always win during this journey? And the answer is, of course not. We have failed quite a bit. And here are some of the most tremendous failures of us, just to showcase the examples. We were spotted offering alcohol beverages as a gift to the people who were buying cards to congratulate their loved ones with the start of Ramadan. This was a huge miscalculation for our Muslim audience. For those who may not be aware, Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, and this is when people fast between sunrise and sunset, consuming no food or water. I'm not even saying that alcohol is prohibited at all. And another example, at times we could end up in situations like this. So proposing a Wisdom of the Husband book to go as a pair, as a gift pair, with a 5-year birthday card for a little girl. I'm not quite sure that they need this type of information at 5 years yet. So to round up everything that I told you right now, I would like to go back to my initial question of this presentation. Is personalization an illusion? And today, I believe the answer to this question is yes. Personalization seems to be just an extreme segmentation of data. Good personalization can be done due to collecting mountains of personal information about your customer. And due to lack of this data, that one-on-one personalization is challenging for a large majority of companies to do well today. Over time, I think we will get so good at segmentation and how we action around it that it may eventually become that one-on-one personalization that we are all striving to. Maybe we will get so good as that offline shopkeeper who knew his customers so well and could anticipate their needs at any time. So just to summarize, my main learnings from this presentation to leave you with, and they sound as the following. Start small and iterate to improve. Pick that one area to focus your intentions around making the personalization experience. Focus on what users find the biggest struggle and help them around it. Don't forget to use the wisdom of the crowds to surface the right item back to your customer. Relevance to the users should go over everything else. Your users will appreciate this. And don't be afraid to fail. You have to learn from it, just like we've done. If you will have any questions about my presentation, I will try to answer them during the live panel with the name Progressive Personalization, Designing a Better Experience. This will happen on 6 October on the main stage at 2:20. I will see you all there. Thank you for your attention.